Hello everybody, my name is Puppetine from the Geeky Puppet Show here on the Geeky Puppet Show today for what? For Black Adam. Yes, it is another Geeky Puppet movie review, and if we know it's a little late, but we're happy to do it. So let's meet our commentators for the evening before we dig in. To my side, he's small, he's green, he's Froggy. Say hi, Froggy.
Hi, Froggy.
If you look right down there, what kind of stream would it be if it wasn't authenticated by the authenticator? Say hello, Dalton.
Hello, everyone.
No, I said say hello, Dalton.
No.
Oh.
We're not doing that. I'm going all Kent Nielsen. I'm just going to teleport away from this portion of the conversation.
Oh well, I don't know what's gonna work out.
One of us. Join us.
Anyway, yes, we're here to talk about Black Adam. If you don't know what Black Adam is, I don't know what to say. It's The Rock's new movie. It is connected to the DCEU heavily, and it is changing the hierarchy of the DC universe forever, according to Dwayne, at least.
And getting people to finally respect Dr. Fate, which I couldn't be happier about.
Which we're going to dig into. I don't think we're going to do like a full recap because I think that we can just talk about elements of this movie and get right to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that personally, I am conflicted on how I feel about this. Black Adam is not a bad movie. It's not, but it's also not a great movie. There are parts of it that I really enjoyed, and then there were parts that were really, really bad. There was some poor casting for the random side people and little children.
Child actors.
Yeah. I don't know whose idea it was to go ahead and say, you know what Black Adam needs? A little fanboy.
What they were trying to do was to do the superhero equivalent of the Terminator and John Connor's arc from T2. That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to do the superhero or anti-hero version of that. Didn't work though, because in order for that paradigm to work, you have to make sure that the child actor in question is a likable, interesting, engaging screen presence.
Yes.
And not.
I'm going to go ahead and ask Froggy, do you have any first thoughts as we're getting in?
Like I said, first thoughts going in, I disagree. I thought the kid was necessary for the plot they're going with. But overall, I just hated the fact that, yes, Amanda Waller is in it again.
I love Amanda Waller.
I'm done with the suicide of Amanda Waller. Get that crap out of here.
Why don't you? Okay, this is a part of this conversation I didn't see coming.
Neither did I.
What problem do you have with Amanda Waller?
Is this the DC universe or the Waller universe?
She is basically the Nick Fury right now.
Yeah,
I know.
But that's who Amanda Waller is. She is the puppet master behind the scenes. And this has been the case ever since the Cadmus story arc of Justice League Unlimited. Any child of the 90s knows who Amanda Waller is, because she is the one intellect in the room that can go toe to toe with Batman.
I will say,
not flinch.
I do have to say, I understand to a point though, because if you think about it, the last how many DCEU projects we've had has had Amanda Waller in it. Suicide Squad original, The Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. I believe she was in she in a post-credit scene for another movie? I believe so.
Aquaman 2 to criticize Amber Heard.
Well, that would be welcome.
Yeah, no, that would be a good use of Amanda Waller. But she's evil Nick Fury, so of course she's in everything right now, because they're doing now what they should have done half a decade ago and done their version of Phase 1.
Evil is a little rough, but it actually does make me realize this movie, it's closely ingrained with Shazam, and that is something very important to Black Adam as a character. Like, they even have the main word, which I was afraid they were going to change.
I was hoping if they're going to have Amanda Waller keep filling in here, I want the Ben Affleck Batman movie, and I want him, the scene we had from the Justice League cartoon. I want her getting in his face and basically him putting in her place.
Yeah,
Can
the mine are bigger than yours. I wouldn't probe the situation too closely. Rich boy exchange there.
Can we get the Justice League part where he gets on stage and sings
my
blue"?
bigger complaint than this was Hawkman.
Hmm.
Too
Why?
overly aggressive, assuming the worst, jumping in head first. He just felt like Wolverine with wings.
But that is kind of Hawkman. Like we've done classic
He's a leader.
We've done classic readings of Hawkman, so we have that to go off of. But
I'll admit though, I don't really read a lot of Hawkman stuff. So, but it looked like he basically had his own like central. Was he in the JSA headquarters, or was that his own house? Like his.
That's his own manner.
Yeah, that I didn't like either.
I will explain Hawkman to you in two ways.
Well, we don't need mansplained here, Dalton. We know Hawkman. We know he's rich. We know he's supposed to be a collector. So actually, it makes even more sense.
Well, no. Let me explain in character terms. One, he's a leader. He's been a leader for however long the JSA has existed. So he's not used to A, taking anyone else's orders, and B, running up against people who won't follow his orders. And two, he's a reincarnated pharaoh and has lived several dozen lifetimes. So he is in I am too old to take your shit mode. I
gotta be fair though, they didn't act like that. That's one part that stuck out to me, because we understand that it's going to hurt a lot. You're going to die, but he gets reincarnated. However, they didn't touch upon that at all. They didn't even make like a passing mention of it.
They did with Fate though, and I was very appreciative of that. The idea that he's been doing this for 100 years, because in the comics, Kent Nelson was a little boy in the 1920s, and it seems like they didn't adjust the timescale at all. They just made Fate do what Fate does for the entire 20th century, which is fine.
Which is good. I will also say, thinking about it now, this film, while Black Adam, yes, he is tied closely to the idea to Shazam, I think this movie tries to follow along some of the same main themes. I mean, it takes a different take of it. Big spoiler: Black Adam is not the one chosen, and it's revealed later on that his son was the hero of what's the name of the place?
Kahndaq.
And he was the champion. His father was attacked because his son was the champion, and thus his son gave the powers to his father, which we get to see Shazam in his movie. He spreads his powers to the Marvel family.
The Shazam family, yeah.
Yes. And
they should be called the Marvel family, but we're not allowed to call them that.
We're allowed to call them that, and we can say whatever we want. But yes, so that goes along with some of the main ideas here. And I think that even though his son dies, that idea of, okay, I'm passing this on. This is a family movie, if you think about it. Even though he's lonely now, in that brings some issues, because he is supposed to be a bad guy. He's supposed to be a villain, guys.
Yes, well, that's the other thing I called too before he even came out.
Absolutely.
They're not gonna make a Rock a villain.
No.
They made him basically an anti-hero.
Yep.
And it worked well, because that's what people like, even though comic book fans were kind of like against that, but it works in their favor.
I'll defend the movies a little bit on this front, because ever since the New 52, ever since Jeff Johns' run, they have been blurring the line a little bit and making Black Adam in relation to Kahndaq, which is from the comics, a little bit like the relationship between Doom and Latveria in Marvel, i.e. he's a villain literally everywhere else, but to his people and his domain, he's the protector. So that kind of, I can allow for that. I do wish they had pushed the violence just a little bit, because we are living in a post The Boys, post Invincible superhero landscape where you can go a little bit further, but at the same time, I'm okay with what we got, because what we got was quite brutal in places, so that's fine.
So, what I'm going to say from that is, I actually am very excited to talk about how he came onto the scene and he's summoned, and the first thing he does is grab a guy's throat and melts him completely, just like totally burns the flesh.
Electrocution to death and then crushing the skull. Yeah, that was nice.
That was brilliant, and it was surprising just how much they went away with. And that's one thing I absolutely love. The fights in this movie are straight out of a comic book.
It's a pretty hard PG-13, actually. Yeah,
and getting to see that, I think some of the problems is that for a movie, it also has some of the questionable starts of a comic book, because we start with the kids random narrating for no reason. It's not tied into anything. It's just him narrating, explaining the story. And I understand that it's necessary to explain the story, but with how they did that, that was very much in a, oh God, the porn bots. It was very much in a, oh, this is our superhero. Yay!
Yeah, the child acting. It reminded me of when Black Adam was first announced at DC's Fandom thing a couple of years ago. They had The Rock. They had The Rock narrate one of the trailers or one of the behind the scenes things. And honestly, I think it would have been a better move to have Black Adam himself explain the backstory, basically. And yes, you still could have played a little bit loose so that the twist can still work, but you could have had Black Adam do the narration, and I think that would have gone off better.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think that's a very good point, and I think that would have made it easier, because even though I'm not saying The Rock is a fantastic actor, I don't think he's a bad actor. He just plays The Rock.
He has a presence.
But yes, so him reading that, him going ahead and explaining the story, I think that would have come across way better.
He's done that in several interviews and things when he's talked about the hierarchy of the DC universe is about to change, or in like I say, the DC
original
Fandom announcement where he's like the magical city of Kahndaq and so on. Like, he's good at being dramatic like that. So it would have worked better.
I'll also say, I think that what they were going for with the little kid, I'm not saying he's not necessary. I'm saying I didn't like him. But with the little kid, I think what they did that actually what they were going for is kind of what Billy has with his brother in a way. Because his brother is geeky, adopted brother, but his brother is geeking out over him all the time. And that's what this kid is supposed to do. But instead of a brotherly relationship, it's almost like a father-son relationship, a protector of him.
It's sort of a grounding element to remind Black Adam of what it is to be human, and also, given what we know about the twist with the son, it's sort of a surrogate son relationship.
Yes,
and that works.
But I'm going to say that I think we needed to go ahead and touch upon, and I know you're excited, deep breaths, the JSA. Because the Justice Society of America are in this movie. And they aren't actually, they aren't bad guys, but when they come into Kahndaq, their
parents are portrayed as bad guys because, as they point out, by the woman, the mother of the kid, she only cared to come in her country when we actually had, this guy, Black Adam or Teth Adam. Otherwise, you didn't give a shit about us. We were being oppressed by Intergang.
Yeah, it's Black Adam's story, so of course they have to act as the counterweight, in the same way that Iron Man was very much the counterweight to Cap in Civil War, to make a Marvel reference.
But I did like the fact that Hawkman being regrettably forced to work with Black Adam, and because they're mad because he kept killing guys. He's like, well, I didn't kill this one. I just let him drop for you.
Yeah, I was doing it for you. I was doing it your way.
I knew you would save him, so I was giving you the open. Yeah.
Hello to world's biggest geek. Yes. So with the JSA, there's a couple other members. There's, oh my gosh. Okay, listen, Atom Smasher. It's fine to have I can enjoy him. That Deadpool mask, it's a straight up Deadpool mask. There's
Yep.
no denying it. It just bothered me the entire time.
It didn't bother me because it kind of lent to one of the things I really liked about this movie, which is almost that it took the most interesting or most unique elements of every superhero movie released in the last 10 years and kind of did like a miniature versions of them and smushed them all together. It's almost like Black Adam is like a greatest hits of the entire superhero genre movie, and I sort of like that. Like you even get moments where like Doctor Fate's powers are very similar to Doctor Strange's scene in Infinity War, but he does it 2 or 3 different times, so it's actually kind of getting more of that same vibe, even though it's a little smaller on scale.
What were you going to say about Adam Smasher Froggy?
I wasn't going to say anything other than that he was just an annoying little kid.
and
was trying to get some tail.
Well, I can't blame him. Look at Cyclone. She was looking good.
I wasn't annoyed by him at all. I actually thought he was kind of cute. But then again, I am gay, so there's that.
You're biased, but my bias is going for Cyclone right there. She was, I liked her.
And they used her powers better than the X-Men movies have ever used Storm as yet on screen. So that's one thing.
That's fair. What were you going to say, Froggy?
I was going to say that I kind of like the uncle.
Henry Winkler.
Yes, Kareem.
The Fonz.
Yes, he's the one that driving the car when they first go in the temple if they're looking for the crown. He's just sitting back in the car, he's jamming out, rocking out.
Baby, come back.
Blaring the music where they're in, like pretty much where anybody can hear the music. You see the guy fall off, they're freaking out. It's just throughout the movie, the guy had like some of the best one-liners. It's just
he's fun.
He's fun. He's memorable. The kid is pretty much Bart Simpson on a skateboard, man.
Well, that's an insult to Bart Simpson, I feel.
Yeah, no, you're being a bit mean to Bart there. Again,
well, I guess
what I think they were going for was the dynamic between John Connor and the T-800 in T2, but that would require the kid to have the acting chops, the kid who played John Connor. So.
I like the different stuff as far as him. Like he had the little escape route to get out of there.
It's very weird to see so many
Disney-like, isn't it?
I think so. To go ahead and have the DC comics in there, it was that threw me off.
I'm just saying, it felt with having the kid in there helping him out. I get the T2 thing, but I also get it's almost like a Disney movie, almost in a sense, where you have the kid pretty much being the heart and teaching, reminding the guy, hey, I need you to help me with this.
Well, as Puppetine said, it's also kind of a dynamic similar to Freddy and Billy from Shazam. So there's that kind of parallel as well.
Which honestly fits because Black Adam is just supposed to be kind of evil Shazam.
Yeah, and while we're on that topic, there is one elephant in the room we have to talk about, and I'm of 2 minds on this elephant in the room we have to talk about.
Listen, I know Kareem is big, but that's not very nice, Dalton.
Okay, everyone at this point knows the mid-credit scene of Black Adam is a Superman reference, and that's fine. And they're setting up Black Adam to fight Superman, and that's also fine. However, for those of us keeping score at home, the prize fight for Black Adam is not Superman. It's Shazam.
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. I do not think that this is to set up him fighting Superman.
They confirmed it in interviews.
Oh well, I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
But that's my point, and that's what I was getting to. According to some things we've learned from behind the scenes, The Rock is hesitant to engage with the Shazam mythos, and he wanted to use Black Adam as an excuse to fight Superman, and also get Henry Cavill back, and all of that is fine to a degree. But I'm sorry, Black Adam and Superman don't go together nearly as much as Black Adam and Shazam go
Yeah,
together.
that,
And
that's
to warp the DC universe to your will, Dwayne, is not okay. The
well,
the prize fight between Black Adam and Shazam is the one I'm interested in. I don't care about what happens with Superman. I'm
well,
sure it'll be interesting when it happens, but the prize fight I want to see is the champion
yes,
versus the false champion,
yes.
frankly.
Okay, one second. World biggest. See the Superman Carl when he got.
I think you meant Cavill.
I'm
Cavill.
not sure. Oh, Cavill. Yes, yes. So here's what I think. I think that this. Okay, take a deep breath. Everybody, let me say my piece. This is the Morbius of the DC universe, and it's not as bad as Morbius, and I wouldn't dare say that. However, you're taking a character that, while known by some people, is not a big, oh, we're going to latch on to Black Adam getting a movie and appearing. No, nobody was expecting that because, like we said, he's a Shazam villain. That's what he is. So him getting his own movie.
He's a JSA villain, actually.
Well, now, yes, but
he was in the Goyer run. He was a JSA villain.
I understand
Well,
that. But
but
first and foremost,
he's primarily a Shazam villain in the same way that Lex Luthor can do all kinds of shenanigans all over the DC universe, but is primarily a Superman villain.
Basically, they can make him whatever they want to. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing more Shazam versus him. But I also kind of want Superman involved somehow because if anything, I want to see Superman versus a magic-based creature and getting his ass kicked because magic hurts him.
Yeah, that is the other elephant in the room with regards to everyone simping for the Black Adam Superman fight. If they keep to the lore and make Superman vulnerable to magic, this fight is going to last all of 2 seconds.
Well, I think they'll go ahead and extend it a little more than that, but yeah,
right.
no.
But that's part of the problem with Shazam and Black Adam going at each other. They're on equal footing. But with Superman going at Black Adam, they either have to change the lore, which would be infuriating, or Black Adam has a kill shot.
I'm going to say that I think that the Superman is basically Vulture's appearance in Morbius. Wait, I think that ultimately this goes ahead. It brings Cavill in. That brings people to see this movie. And then Cavill, I mean Zaslav, as much as I hate the man, I despise Zaslav. He has done horrible, heinous things to DC television and HBO Max. He honestly, he infuriates me to even think about him. But I will say this: he has recently said in an interview, the last Superman movie we had was like 15 years ago, and the last Harry Potter movie, but that doesn't matter. But Superman movie 15 years ago, we gotta prioritize some stuff. So I think we're getting a Superman movie, and I do not think he's going to face.
Was Man of Steel 15 years ago?
No.
Was 2013.
Oh no!
Really?
Yeah. Man of Steel was 2013.
Wow.
Okay, then that's no.
But regardless, so I want to point out that Cavill said he wants to go more towards the Christopher Reeves. He wants to be more inspirational.
He wants to be a more classic version of Superman because by all accounts, it was Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan that wanted to do the grim gritty version, and Cavill, giant nerd that he is at his heart, wanted to be a Superman, and Snyder and the direction of DC kept screwing him over. Indeed. So, and that's part of the reason why he left The Witcher, because he wants to prioritize being Superman. And all the power to him, honestly, especially because by the sound of it, it seems like he was the only voice of reason on The Witcher set who actually cared a damn about the lore. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah. So with him here, I think I do not think that we are heading. The next movie will be Superman and Black Adam.
No, not the next movie, but they are
No.
setting up that Superman and Black Adam are going to tussle. Dwayne Johnson has confirmed it, and even Cavill has dropped hints to it. So here's and therein lies the problem. Problem is Dwayne Johnson doesn't like Shazam. He wants to fight Superman, and that's fine and all. But those of us that actually care about the actual fan base want to see the champions go with each other, i.e. Shazam and Black Adam.
So, but we can look at this as a stepping stone then. I believe the original plan that was being kicked around was Shazam when Black Adam was originally announced. Shazam is going to have the next movie, and then his third movie is going to lead to his facing Black Adam. Yeah. That's what people were saying. That's what articles were going ahead and pushing forward. I don't know if we're sticking to that, but hopefully.
From what I hear, it depends on how well Shazam Fury of the Gods does. If Shazam Fury of the Gods makes more money than Black Adam, then they're going to tell Dwayne Johnson to shove it, and they're going to put Shazam and Black Adam in a movie together. If it doesn't do as well as Black Adam is doing or will do, then they're going to prioritize what Dwayne Johnson wants over what's good for the franchise, and do a Shazam, Black Adam versus.
My
Superman
only fear is if they do Shazam versus Black Adam, they're gonna throw Superman in the mix in the middle of it.
Yeah, we don't want those.
But no, honestly, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with the Shazam family being out of their league against Black Adam a little bit, and Superman coming in and evening things up, as long as Superman is the supporting character in the movie and not the main point of the movie. That's my fear. My fear is Dwayne Johnson's ego is going to force Warner Brothers' hand to ignore what would make sense, which is Shazam versus Black Adam, and force Black Adam versus Superman instead. And I don't want that.
So no, I'm not hoping for that either. I honestly want it to lead to what originally was being shifted around. I want Shazam to get through Fury of the Gods, and eventually, just movie after that, finally face Black Adam, because he's supposed to. But the problem that underlies with this movie is that no matter what excuse they make, Black Adam is not going to be nearly as he should be to face Shazam or even Superman, because they didn't make because they turned him into basically like a hero, an anti-hero. Turned him into basically Red Hood.
Which again, I think they're going to have basically confined to Kahndaq in the same way that Doom's benevolence is contained to Latveria.
So the only way I can see this going forward in having turned the Black Adam being a villain is that there's a misunderstanding, because the Wizards want him to basically imprison Black Adam again. So therefore, there can only be one person in control of the powers at the time, because they're going to ignore the whole Mary Marvel crap. They're going to want Billy's going to be basically like, you know what? I'm going to take down this guy, and they're going to be forced to fight.
I think when Shazam and Black Adam fight, it's going to be the entire Shazam family against Black Adam, and Black Adam's superior experience is going to be what makes him a threat to all of them, because with the power split, they're less dangerous to him. I think is the route they're going to go.
Well, that's the way to see. I think it's time to go ahead and just mention the true MVP of this movie, and calm down, deep breaths. We know you need your minute, but we each need to talk about him.
It was actually Amelia Harcourt.
It was good to see her, yes, but it was Dr. Fate. Pierce Brosnan has been, the last movie I saw him in was that terrible Cinderella movie. Until when I saw he was going to be in this, I was like, well, you know, he totally let himself go to a dark side. But here he redeems himself as Dr. Fate. He is truly fantastic. he is the best part of this film for me. And I think that as it stands, if it wasn't for the fact that he dies, I would have loved to see him again. Froggy, let Froggy go.
No, go ahead. I will filibuster after this because
Let's
Dr.
keep
Fate is
it
my favorite.
positive for at least another 20 minutes.
Oh, it's going to be positive. Go ahead, Froggy.
No, I was not sure what I was gonna get from this. We got some cool like CG stuff with him, especially when he's fighting against the anti-Shazam, I guess, which was really weird because the fact that I always thought that that the evil Shazam was Tap Atom, but but we have another character in here, Sabacus. I can't remember what's his name again. Sabak. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird seeing this, and then like I said, the whole performance as now. Take it granted, I did not read a lot of JSA. I don't really know how Kent acts. Only what I've been reading with the Goyer stuff. I don't know how he was before all that stuff in the older stuff. But overall, for a DC movie, I thought it was all right. It wasn't as bad, as Doctor Strange 1. I'll give you that, Dalton. It was. I found this Dr. Fate more entertaining than Doctor Strange 1.
There you go.
But
go ahead.
Keep it short and sweet.
Okay. Yes, Dalton. Go ahead and give us some.
Okay, so here's the thing. Dr. Fate is my most favorite comic book character overall, full stop. I like him better than Doctor Strange. I like him better than Dream of the Endless. But at the same time, there is not a character who gets absolutely gang raped by retcons more than Dr. Fate. Because the thing with Dr. Fate is, for some reason, ever since the storyline Day of Vengeance, they have forgotten that Dr. Fate is supposed to be a combination of Nabu, the Lord of Order, and Kent Nelson. Yep. Now they make him post New 52 just a glorified. They make Dr. Fate the person, basically a glorified meat puppet for Nabu to ride around in. This movie didn't do that, and so it gets all the praise for remembering how important Kent Nelson as a character is, and how important it is that he has his own magic because he studied it with Nabu for 20 freaking years. And I loved how they portrayed Kent here. It's not perfect. I still think the best portrayal of Dr. Fate in any media ever, live action at least, would be the Smallville two-parter Absolute Justice episodes. And as far as full stop appearances, the best appearance of Dr. Fate ever, full stop, is outside of the comics, is the Justice League Unlimited episode The Return. But they didn't massacre my boy. They did point out how important Kent Nelson as a character actually is, that he's not just a glorified meat suit for Nabu, that there's actually a relationship between him and Nabu, and there's a relationship between Kent and the other members of the JSA. I liked all of those things, and I especially liked the idea that because both of his knowledge, his mind reading and future seeing powers, and the fact that he's been doing this for 100 years, I like that he is unfazed by everything. He is the adult in the room, and he has no time for people's shenanigans. My favorite scene in the movie was when Black Adam and Hawkman were basically doing a dick measuring contest. Well, my superhero dick is bigger than your superhero dick. And Fate's just sitting there in corner with a smirk on his face, like, "Oh, children, I'm not even going to condescend to pay attention to your little squabble. I'm just going to quietly ignore you." That is very much who Dr. Fate is. He's an agent of existential cosmic order. He shouldn't care about petty personal squabbles, and he should be the smartest person in the room. And that's something that I've been missing from Doctor Strange over in Marvel, is he's very often not the smartest person in the room. And that's not something that should be the case for either one of them. They're master sorcerers, and they've both been at this for decades. So whatever. But yeah, I really enjoyed how they used Dr. Fate here, and I
Very
really
good.
like that. I've been hearing rumbles that he was everyone's kind of favorite standout character in the movie, and a lot of people have been begging for a Dr. Fate movie ever since this movie came out. And I was just like, finally, you all see what makes this character a badass. The comic book writers can't even half the time remember why this character's a badass. So it's nice to see people realize just how badass Dr. Fate is.
There we go. Thank you.
With that being said, I want to address World's Biggest Geeks question.
Yep. Introduction.
As far as bringing other characters in this movie, the only character I would have brought in would have been Jay Garrick, the Flash.
Yeah, that would have been a great inclusion.
Stargirl would have been a stretch because they already have a newbie, Atom Smasher. If Atom Smasher had been introduced as being a new person, already been in there for a while, the new person I would have brought in would have been Stargirl.
I would have honestly gotten rid of Cyclone and Atom Smasher, and I would have swapped in Golden Age Green Lantern, the magic powered Green Lantern.
That'd be good. That'd be good. I'd love Alan Scott.
Alan Scott and Jay Garrick. Give me those two. Johnny Thunder, not so much. But like I said, Spectre, that's a whole nother thing.
Spectre would have one-shotted this entire movie. It wouldn't have even. Spectre is a cosmic entity.
He's a Constantine for movie. If we're gonna do something like that.
Hello, I'm God. How are you today?
he is even less psychologically stable than Wanda and has powers on par with Infinity Gauntlet Thanos. So you're playing with a lot of fire when you're talking about the Spectre.
So I want to go ahead and say, and I know this doesn't belong here, but Stargirl is getting canceled. If in the DCEU somehow they can do a somewhat soft reboot of Stargirl, make it so, I don't know. It seems like the JSA, as it were, they've been quiet. They haven't been together. The team is just forming together for the first time, really. Obviously, Fate and Hawkman have worked together, but Cyclone, even though she is very intelligent and competent,
they're new kids.
They're new. So it seems that Justice Society has been split apart. So you could easily work in a Stargirl who has set up her own sort of Justice Society, and she is officially invited to the team. And you don't have to keep it complete canon, but it would be nice to go ahead and bring that in because that would be very nice.
You could do what they did kind of in Smallville and make her the new version or the apprentice of the Star-Spangled Kid, which would have made her fit in nicely with Cyclone and Atom Smasher.
You know what I would have done? Just a JSA movie, but set in the 40s.
I've been saying for you.
Dalton said before we started that's where they should dig in, Golden Age, and I absolutely agree. You could find someone to play a young Dr. Fate. You go ahead and get some of those characters. You throw Our Man in there. You throw I'm trying to think. You could throw classic Green Lantern in there, but I mean, I'd like to see him.
Wesley Dobbs Sandman would be nice.
Was Kent the original Dr. Fate?
Yes, Kent is, for all intents and purposes, Dr. Fate. The origin, and this is one of the things that annoys me that they forget.
The original, you might say.
Yes, but Kent was a child whose father was an archaeologist. And they stumbled on Naboo's tomb because Naboo used to be physically incarnated on the earthly plane. And in the process of waking Naboo up, Kent's father died, and Naboo took pity on him and decided to raise him as his own son, and spent 20 years teaching him magic. But then, because Naboo is a cosmic being, he realized that being incarcerated as a mortal on the mortal plane was slowly killing him. So he forced Kent to remember his original father just long enough to kill him so that he could ascend to the plane of the Lords of Order. But he realized that he didn't want to leave Kent behind. And so he chose to bind himself into the helmet so that he could remain as an advisor to Kent.
So I want to go ahead. There's actually a line in this movie where they said exactly what I know that you said that you do not like, where they say that he becomes kind of possessed by the helmet whenever he wears it. That is not clear in the movie at all, and it doesn't seem that way. So I want to address, though, after Dr. Fate sadly perishes, obviously Hawkman doesn't wear the helmet, but he holds it, and he's able to use the same trick that he used before, that Dr. Fate used before.
Yeah,
and I think that is Naboo saying, "Hey, here's a helping."
I would actually like if you would have faked the death, and hid inside the amulet.
I'm fine. I'm fine with Carter using the helm. I'm fine with Hawkman using the helm for two reasons. Number one, it's established in the movie they have been working together, and basically Hawkman has been Fate's apprentice for X number of years. And two, if you know the comics, you know that one of the only proper successors to Kent in the mantle of Dr. Fate was Hector Hall, the son of Carter. So that actually worked for me, and I didn't hate it too badly.
All right. Well, okay. I think we have. Do we have anything else we need to touch upon? We touched upon Superman. We touched upon the JSA. They were very cool. We touched upon Black Adam. I mean, he's not the ruler, but the protector of Kahndaq. And I think there's not much more to dig into. So, should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts. Movie.
I just want to say this. Remember, we were mentioning before that Shazam: Fear the Gods has to do better than Black Adam. Black Adam, allegedly, I guess, well, this according to Wikipedia, it says that it had a budget of 195 to 200 million, and the box office they made back right away so far is 258 million dollars.
So it needs to get about 500 in order to be considered a success.
Yeah,
I think it will get there, but I think because of how much people enjoyed the first Shazam, there's a high probability. I would even go so far as to say I wouldn't be surprised if Shazam 2 managed to make $1 billion, and if it does, then Dwayne Johnson is gonna have to eat some humble pie and gonna have to stow the Superman fight for long enough to make the proper.
Okay, we need to talk about this, and I think Froggy of all people will be able to respect the idea of what I'm saying. At least The Rock, first and foremost, is an entertainer. Even when he was wrestling, he was hyping things up. He was getting and digging into it, and I think that's what he's doing here. I really don't think there's no reason to aim for it. Like, Superman is there, and that's nice, but there's no reason that they should face each other. And I think The Rock knows that. I think Henry Cavill knows that. I think DC knows that. So
I think even if they don't know that, I think one of the virtues that The Rock does have is he likes pleasing the fans. So I think if there's enough people pointing out that Black Adam versus Superman doesn't really work, he'll respect that. So
yeah.
My other question is, if they do a new Cavill Superman movie in the theme of basically Christopher Reeve in that kind of tone, will people take to that, or will people be like, you know what, I like Man of Steel better?
You're going to get the Snyder Bros. The Snyder Bros.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get many people thinking that Man of Steel was better, because even the people who thought it was okay thought that it was a terrible representation of Superman. So
yeah.
My thinking is what you're going to have there is similar to what happened when they transitioned from Thor the Dark World to Thor Ragnarok. I think you'll get a lot of people going, finally, this is what we deserve. This is what we wanted from this franchise to begin with. What the fuck was up with the false start?
And will Cavill's Superman movie make as much as Black Adam?
Oh yeah, it'll make way more. I think. Yeah, Henry Cavill as Superman is going. Him being back essentially is going to make sure that movie at least earns it back. I don't know if it'll be a huge success, but it'll earn back what they spent.
My question is, what does this mean with relationship to the Batman question? Are they gonna retcon it by way of the Flash so that it's Pattinson's Batman now,
No.
or are they gonna try to bring back
Well, I heard they're gonna
bringing
have
back-
both. Batfleck is coming back. Yeah.
I think Batfleck is coming back, and I think maybe they can heal the tides. And I mean, Ben Affleck is with J-Lo. I don't know what that implies.
We also saw that Batfleck after he said he was done. It was announced. So it was earlier this year. He's going to be in Aquaman 2.
So there we go.
So, like I said, as far as the Flash movie goes, the Flash movie, as far as I know, Ezra Miller is done as the Flash. They're going to release the movie. And then they might change it so they have a different person. They might even bring in Wally West.
They're basically, it appears, going to use the retconning powers of the Flashpoint storyline to change out the actor for a new actor that's not Ezra Miller. My thinking is, why the hell would you do what's his name?
Grant Gustin?
Grant Gustin, thank you.
I think that I don't know. See, I think Grant Gustin may be tired of being the Flash. That's one. It's also a very different field. I understand that it's acting, and I am sure that Grant Gustin could do it. I don't think the DC execs think that he could do it.
Would let him do it. Yeah, there is that.
I mean, they've already had in the Crisis on Infinite Earth special, which was very enjoyable.
They had the cinematic version
what I would have
crossover
done?
with the TV version. So,
I would have had Wesley Shipp, John Wesley Shipp as Jay Garrick in this movie, though.
That's
a very interesting idea.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been a bad idea. I'm of two minds on it, because I do wish there were more members of the classic JSA, but at the same time, I also could have seen a situation where, like I say, they swapped out Atom Smasher and Cyclone for the Golden Age Green Lantern and had all of the characters be magic adjacent characters.
The reason I say bring it in, because we already know that this Jay Garrick on the Flash is already from a different Earth. There's multiple Earths, so why couldn't they just basically have a different Flash? Is Barry Allen?
Yeah, my problem there is. I'm glad they have the mechanism of the MacGuffin of Flashpoint to kind of tidy everything up, but at the same time, I don't want them to get too comfortable with the let's just play willy-nilly with the casting because multiverse, because then you'll wind up in the same problem as I think Marvel is currently in.
Well, I'm just saying, if you do one Crisis,
yeah, I personally think that. They might try to do a change. I don't know. I think they're going to leave the movie with the universe is different. I don't think they're going to outright get rid of Ezra Miller at the end of this movie. I don't think they have shot for that, and I don't think they will. I think they're going to leave it as it is right now.
Well, you got to realize, though, this movie was supposed to be out a long time ago. They keep pushing it back further.
Because of reshoots.
Yes.
Because Ezra Miller keeps digging himself into a deeper and deeper hole.
They could have actually filmed a different scene without it.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see, though. And I think I'm very perplexed because there was it may not have been a good plan. I will say that. But there was a whole plan for Michael Keaton to be the Batman of the new universe, and now it's looking like they're backtracking.
And so, I love Michael Keaton's Batman as much as any child of the '90s, but that makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
So
unless you wanted to do a Batman Beyond and have Keaton be old Bruce, that would have made sense.
That's what they were going for.
Yes.
Or Conroy. Give Conroy his due, goddammit. He's old enough now. He could play.
He was killed by Ruby Rose. We don't need him anymore.
I also and for the Shazam movie, it looks good. It looks like it's going to be a sequel to the first one, which is exactly what we want. And that is exactly what we didn't want for Thor: Love and Thunder. But that's another universe. Rhaegar, who loved the movies the most? You're guessing me. You would be guessing wrong. I think out of the three of us that Dalton actually loves this movie the most. I don't
Yeah.
hate this movie, but I do not think it is that great.
It's a lot like Multiverse of Madness. It's a flawed movie. It's a broken movie. It's got a lot of issues with the script and everything, but at the same time, it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. And I think the thing that's the most unique about Black Adam, and I said this earlier, but I'll repeat it kind of as my summary line. It's sort of a grab bag of all the most unique scenes in every superhero movie released in the last 10 years, smushed together and repeated a couple of times, albeit on a smaller scale. It's sort of a greatest hits of the superhero genre in one movie.
I suppose.
And I gotta say, I equally like it as much as Dalton because I really didn't have many faults. My only faults I found with the movie is well, what they're gonna do with the character in the future, because how the Rock, you can't turn him into a villain. So I'm curious what they're going to see from here. But otherwise, it's an enjoyable movie. I had no problem other than a Waller. Waller was my big thing. I was like, she's in every single movie. We're not building the Waller League.
She's a puppet master character. She's evil Nick Fury. That's what she does.
She's Agatha Harkness.
Amanda Wawa.
She's Agatha Harkness. It was Waller all along.
So we've been at this almost an hour. We have basically, I liked it. I did like it. I didn't like it as much as these two. That's what it comes down to. And honestly, I'm glad y'all liked it as much as you did. I look forward to Shazam. I actually look forward to the Flash movie just because of what's in it.
Give me Fat Waller.
And Dr. Fate prequel movie when? Dr. Fate period piece when?
Okay, I have to address this. Austin P. I didn't watch it, but my brother did, and he came home saying it was the most stupid movies he's seen. It was funny. Has he seen Morbius? Because if he hasn't seen Morbius, then
the bar can go much. I would go so far as to say this movie was even better than like either of the two Venom movies. So the bar could go much lower, even just in the superhero genre.
I would agree for the second one, the second Venom movie, but for the first one, I really appreciate how they were able to make a Venom that didn't have Spider-Man and make it feel like it worked. Has he seen Love and Thunder? Yeah, Love and Thunder is unforgivable. It's unforgivable how you let
still not as bad as either of the first two Thor movies, but it's nowhere near as good as Ragnarok.
Wholeheartedly disagree, but that's another matter. For Black Adam, you have our verdict. Overall, we enjoyed the movie. How do you feel? If you're watching after, leave a comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. We want to thank you so much for watching. We had a great time with y'all, and we hope you had a great time with us. But that's it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers, guys.
Watch this video and like it.
Dr. Fate